Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Waiting for it. Waiting for it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Let me just get some stuff set up, you know, fix the things that are broken.
Are we live?
We're live. Yeah, we're live.
Woohoo!
Did you see the little? We got to get you a little red light that goes off.
I think I see one in the top left corner. We're at 43 seconds.
Yeah, it tells you right there. You're not even paying attention there. That's the sign.
I wasn't. Okay, chill. I wasn't sure if that was relative to Twitch.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I sent my tweets. Wait, did I? Sent my tweets. Just gotta move over my screen and then share my screen.
Boom. I have it streaming on my TV.
It's live. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
This calls for a
right.
Topo Chico.
Ugh. Junk.
Grapefruit flavor.
They have different flavors?
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that. Now
You're missing out.
that's new. I don't remember that. All right. So tonight we're going to work on part 2 of the sample CSS3 color picker. This is our kind of not a true web component, but just our little component that we're going to make. It's going to be a color swatch picker. We've gotten so far to the point of, let me pull up some sample code. Well, this is the code that we're using to instantiate it. But in terms of the actual component that we've written so far, we've just got a long list of colors and some basic options here. It's just plain ES6, no React, no Vue yet. There's probably some things in here that will change along the way. I don't like the styles, the way the styles are kind of shaping up right now, but we're just gonna kind of get the look and feel of it first. Then we'll look at refactoring it into something perfect.
So, have you done anything to it since the last stream that we should know about, or is this the state that we left off on?
This is where we left. I leave you here.
Great.
Oh, was I zoomed in a bunch? I guess I did that on purpose.
Yeah. Did you gotta quit watching the TV as your like source of feedback for the coding? Because every TV is different.
Yes, but what matters is based on the screen real estate that I have right here, if this is normal size, like that small, that's not that tiny, but I like, why not make it, I'm doing a presentation. I should make it big, make it readable for people. Why you hate on it every single time?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Chad.
Okay, so back to the code.
So first of all, I think what we want to do is make this into a little overlay kind of thing that you trigger from a button. What do you think? You like where that's going?
How are you going to fit all of those colors into an overlay?
We're going to make it scrollable. Or pageable. I don't know. I guess it could be a full modal, but no. I don't know. We'll just kind of play with it along the way. We'll see what we feel, you know? We're going to Bob Ross it.
Now we're going to add some trees to our painting.
some happy little trees, some happy little modals.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we can make a good design out of this component. I know right now the focus hasn't been design, it's been functionality.
yeah, that's what
But
I'm
if
working on, functionality first, and then we'll get to design stuff later. I really don't like this kind of setup we have here to render out stuff, but again, something we'll kind of work at along the way. But what we really want is a button to kind of kick things off. So I'm gonna do another div, wrap it in another div.
dude, could you imagine a live streamer like CJ talking the entire time in a Bob Ross voice?
That would be hard to do. He's very calm and collected and happy. CJ's pretty happy too.
CJ's happy. He has a good chuckle every once in a while.
Yeah, and he can be calm sometimes, like Bob Ross calm. What did I do that for? I did it so I could make a button. And this button is going to say select color. And we're probably going to want a little swatch in there. So I'm going to start.
Oh, hey, before we forget, will you add me as a commentator in Twitch?
You're already a moderator. I don't have to do it every single time. You just have to log in. Are you logged in? Are you ghosting me because I yelled at you?
Yes.
I take it back. I'm very sorry, Trent. I know you're a sensitive human, and you have your own needs that. Okay, what kind of style is this gonna have? Let's just call it. Well,
you're gonna kill me, but I swear you. Maybe I need to update my view, but I think you have to add me as a moderator.
you're already a moderator. Why?
Each time.
What do you think? What makes you think you're not a moderator?
The layout that I'm seeing when I log in and go to your channel is not a moderator layout.
The mod view is a different URL. It's not the same URL. But why do you need that? Why? Is there some more stuff in there that you see that you need, or what?
No, I just wanna like monitor the chat in case someone does join. I'm able to help, you know.
You can just be in the
expand
regular chat.
conversation.
The regular chat on the right, you can pop out the chat on the Twitch page.
Okay.
And that's the same thing.
Fine. I'll just monitor the regular chat. Assuming people are chatting.
We'll see. They trickle in. Usually it, takes a couple commercial breaks. So I'm adding the styles for this small swatch size for now.
So this is vanilla ES6 and HTML and CSS. Have you had a lot of moments yet of thinking, man, here's how I would do this in React?
Not here how I would do this, but about which parts are easier, of course. Like this JSX stuff, and the styling so far would be easier. But I kind of want to go through the pain. I like to go through the pain and then ease it up later on,
Yeah, it's good for you.
Humbles you, reminds you of where you came from.
jQuery.
Even jQuery is easier than this. But okay. Oh, see, but now I have to add like on clicks and stuff, you know, be fancy with that. So button, but I can't just do a normal on click equals some function name, right? On clock, on
On
click.
clock. When the clock strikes 12.
I can't do that here because that will look in the global scope. I mean, unless I put a function in the global scope, but I don't want to do that.
You may need to break up your inner HTML elements so that it's like
Yeah.
one element in a const, and then you can listen to that const.
That is a decent idea, Trent. So there is a couple ways we could do it. We could, if we broke this out and made it to an element, and then we could use that element and like add an event listener on it directly. But I think I'm still going to spit it all out as one. And then, well, see, now we're getting into the whole render issue. So each time we open and close this thing, do I rerun or want to re-render this whole button? Like, just to open and close it, it's kind of pointless. But if the state changes, for example, I select a color, then I want this to re-render anyway, you know?
Time to rewrite it in React.
Well, that's where React and Vue and those other ones would make it amazingly simple, right? But I'm trying to do it without it. I kind of want to see how we do it without it with traditional browser features, you know?
Yeah, no, I applaud you. I think this is a good challenge that anyone who's wanting to become a true front-end engineer should undertake. It is tricky though. You have to really think about how you're going to break up your code so that you have a separation of concerns. Because it's easy to stuff a bunch of HTML into l.inner HTML and just inject that into the page. But then the HTML you're injecting isn't stateful. So I don't really know a solution for that without doing some trial and error. Like how do you make injectable HTML stateful? I mean, it's painful, but my first guess is if every HTML element were a variable, it would be easier to listen to events. But you're going to have a bunch of consts if you do that, and it may not be the best option.
Yeah. Well, for these callbacks, like these on-click callbacks, I could make them global. And should we just explore that path? Like, do you want to see how that would work, even though we're probably not going to do it that way?
MVP, get it working.
I think it's an interesting approach. So here's my idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to make them global, like on click. I'm going to call some method. In this case, I'm going to say like toggle color swatches. Do I need the parentheses? I don't remember. I think so. And then I'm going to make it on here. Color swatches. And yeah, how do I update state in here now? So I think I would just set it on the options. This, well, not the options. I want some internal state. I mean, fuck it. Let's just make something called state, huh? We'll
Sure.
just make a fake state. Think that'll be confusing to people? Maybe. But
No.
let's go with it for now. Okay, so in toggle color swatches, I want to say this dot state dot show color swatches. This is very similar to just React state, right? And I'm going to set that to true. I'm going to start it here with false as default. And then because there is no like re-render, we don't have set state, which is triggering re-render. We have to do that ourselves. So we'll say this dot render. So we're going to update the state, and then we're going to re-render. And I'm going to pull this out. Comments show color swatches. And dot state. I'm doing a lot of little like property kind of prepping right here, so
we can always
group that code together visually.
Once it's functional, we'll see the obvious areas to refactor, but I think it's good to, you know, act on your first assumption of how to get it to work, and then see where it goes.
All right. So we'll use that to kind of, it should show and hide. So this still isn't going to work, the toggle color swatches, but let's kind of see what happens. All right, we don't have our swatches by default. When I click this, I'm expecting to see a JavaScript error. Toggle color swatches is not defined. It's looking for basically window.toggle color swatches. And just show you. Let's try. So now when I click it, boom. So it's looking on the window object on the global for it. But as like a little plugin, we don't want to pollute the global scope. That's not something we really have to worry about in a React app or Vue app. We're probably using imports and stuff, right? Imports and exports. And that's kind of controlling the module scope for us. So we're not leaking anything out unless we explicitly say like window dot whatever. In order to make this available to the global scope for render, and we pass in this global scope right now in our little iffy that we're using. So I can make, or just do a little simple thing inside the render. I can say, oops, global dot CS3 picker instance, and I'll just refer it to this. So this basically makes, get out of here. CSS3 picker dot methods available for on click.
So just out of curiosity, couldn't you also, as an alternative way, have an ID on the button in your inner HTML element? And later on down, I know this isn't the most stable, but would it work if you had like document.querySelector ID name on click, and the code later on down would assume that the ID of the button is rendered when it fires?
You mean, and have like an on-click listener for it or something, or?
Yeah, have an on-click listener for the ID that's on the button.
Yeah.
And
so what I'm trying to avoid right now is having to add and remove listeners. because the way that I would probably do this, I'm actually kind of starting to like this global idea more. It's a little hacky, but it simplifies the hell out of it for us, I would say. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Since we overwrite this HTML every time we render, if we don't remove any listeners on those elements, they've now become like zombies and they're memory leaks. So we would want to like call unmount, like an unmount kind of thing, and remove all of the listeners from the prior render. Each time we re-render, we remove them all and then reattach them all. And each of those listeners, like, it could be kind of, I just feel like it could be excessive, but we're going to go down this route first and kind of see how it works.
Yeah, your way looks just as useful. So let's try this first.
Yeah, now that we have this CSS3 picker instance, we can use that as our root because that is on the global scope now. So we can say CSS3 picker instance dot toggle color switches, and that should re-render, like change the state, re-render, and get it to show. And just, since I called it toggle, let's actually just do the opposite of whatever it is so we can show and hide it. Okay, the moment of truth. Boom, 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 boom. So it's just showing and hiding based on that. What is this? This div right here. The display flex is really all we're changing. Oh, it re-renders the whole thing though. So that could be an issue in that sense, but it is nice for us to have that simple way of triggering that on click.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like it.
The problem is if we have more than one of these pickers on the page, this is going to break. So
yeah, because you've only got one shot at using this as your
well, one shot at using this global name. So what I would probably do is give it some kind of unique name, like generate a unique name, and then each one will have its own unique ID. So that could probably be something that we would do in the constructor. But do we want to go down this path? But let's play with it a little bit first now, I guess, that we have it set up.
Yeah, we can always go back later.
And let's add an on click to the swatches. So when you actually click one, set color swatch, and I can pass in something in here like, I guess I could just do color.name for now. And this is running like regular JavaScript, so I have to put it in kind of quotes.
Regular JavaScript?
Regular JavaScript. And I'll show you that. So let's find set color swatch. Selected color. And then it's dot render.
Dude, every time someone in the coding world says import export, I always think of that scene from Seinfeld when George Costanza is like asked, "So, what do you do?"
He's an importer exporter.
I'm in the import export business.
What do you import and export?
Oh, paintings, antiques. What does he say? I forget.
I forgot. Yeah, it's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Mostly imports and exports. I don't know. I forget. That's like the introduction of Art Vandelay is in like episode 1 or 2. I think it's 1. It's the first time they refer to him as Art Vandelay. But he was, I think, originally an architect.
Oh. I'm thinking of the episode when they're all like trying to view that really fancy house or take a tour. And like Kramer is showing up to the fancy house with his alter ego, and George shows up, and then Seinfeld shows up, and
Yeah, in the house
the
where they're
lady.
at. Penny
Yeah,
Pincher and it's Art Vandelay, Penny Pincher, and who is Jerry?
I forget the alter ego names of each one. I just remember our Vandelay. But anyway, import export.
Okay, so this should show the current color swatch, the background color. Instead of making it transparent, maybe I should. Border solid 1px gray. Okay, so there's a little color swatch there.
Dude, this inner HTML is gonna really get.
It's gonna mess things up a lot.
It's gonna get convoluted quick.
I already noticed a little bit of an issue. Like here, since it re-renders the whole thing, I wonder if, if we're doing something in here, some kind of state in this thing, and we click it, like it might re-render and jerk things around, but I don't know if that will be a problem or not. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on. So right now we don't have a color. If I click on one, oh, it's showing it. It's not closing the thing though. Okay. It should also set this to false. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Oops. Set to false right now. So we'll assume when you click one, that's how you've done it. Boom, boom, boom. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. Let's make that color swatch a little bit bigger. And that's something I want to make a configurable option. We can also console log this out. Actually, we're going to want to trigger an event. So we could trigger a DOM event, or we could
What are you referring to?
To like say like when the color switches, like an on change.
Are you planning on broadcasting like as an event to anyone else who uses this, like callback methods for them to consume?
So that's what I was talking about. We could make it an option when you pass it in. You do like an on change, and that listens for color swatch. So this would be kind of the first way, is to just pass it into here. I'm not sure how that works with things like React and Vue. We'd have to kind of do a little demo, test it. But when I set the color swatch and I want to say this options dot color swatch. So it should boom, brown, dark blue, dark cyan.
Can you click on the hazy purple?
Which one's that? You mean
I'm just kidding.
Dark orchid?
I made it up. I don't think it's actually one of the colors.
I don't think so either.
Purple rain.
They would get sued over that. Who do you sue? CSS3? That's not a company. The W3 org.
Yeah.
So that would be like the simplest way, of course, right? Just passing on change like this. But let's think like how would you do that in Vue? I mean, I guess how would you consume something like this in like Vue or React anyway, you know?
Yeah, well, this is an interesting topic. So the way that you have implemented it here is semantically correct for vanilla JavaScript consumption, but when someone in one of my Vue apps that I'm working on, if someone implements const color picker equals new CSS3 color picker inside of a Vue method, it immediately raises red flags in my head. So I don't know if there's a right answer to what you're asking. Like vanilla JavaScript plugins are generally not, they're frowned upon in React and Vue world if they're not like wrapped in a React or Vue.
Well, that's what I was saying. We're going to wrap it in one of those. We're going to make those wrappers as well eventually.
Okay.
So here I'm trying to do kind of like sample React one. I know that way ref thing is outdated, but
Vue uses refs.
They have it in React still. I think they're they're deprecating the named way of doing it like this, which I don't know why it's so easy. Instead, you'd have to like do use ref and oh, hey, Brooke Zerker, what is that? It's a crab saying hello. Hey, Brooke Zerker. So this would be the old way, and then you would do something like, well, actually, I'm not even sure ref would be on there. You'd probably have use ref. And then you pass it in something like that, I believe. And we would have something like this in a use effect. So use effect. We would do our color picker, and then for the element, we would point to the ref dot current, I believe it is. So we would just pass the element itself. And then we can pass our on change in here still, and it would work just fine. Which is nice because we wouldn't have to do like DOM event listening for things. And we have access to all of our whatever we want to do here and whatnot. So that use effect, and then we'd probably have a cleanup that would do like, we need an actual cleanup for it as well. So that
Are we getting ahead of ourselves though?
Well, no, because part of how I designed it is I want it to be, I mean, I guess we would make our own components for it, but I do need to kind of design it to be able to be consumed in both of them.
Right.
Yes, Brooks, I am driving today. Hey, remains the day. We're working on our CSS3 color picker again. So let me comment this out because this will break our lives. But we've, since the last one, I added a button. You click on that, you see the huge list of colors. You click on a color, and it shows it. And I got a callback going for what color you picked. So,
Hey, Chad, can we talk about this button for a minute?
what's wrong with the button, Trent?
Can you make it pop?
You know I will. So you want like,
I want some pop.
you want it to blink? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, blink black and white so it like blends in with the page.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's how you would do it in React. I think that would work. I want, is there can I easily just like embed a React in the page somehow, or do I have to spin up a whole? I could just spin up a create React app, and then I wonder if I can just like import these files locally or something.
Yeah, my brain immediately goes to what's so funny.
Brooks says, not to nitpick, but the colored square in the button isn't centered. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't fixed it yet. We're working on it.
So I've had a great developer experience with CodeSandbox.io because they
Yeah.
spin up a React and Vue app for you with dependencies and everything. And you can import vanilla JavaScript files for a quick test. It's way better than other web-based
So
apps.
I could push this up and then to GitHub and then use their direct URL and just include that in the page to test it.
Yep.
Yep. I've never really used Code Sandbox.
I like it because their web-based editor is an abstraction of VS Code. So unlike CSS tricks or what's it called, CodePen, where you have to kind of inherit a learning curve to do anything, Code Sandbox feels just like VS Code in the browser. I like it for that reason, and at the click of a button, you get a create React app spun up with all of the dependencies installed, so you feel like you're on your local machine.
Do I have to sign up for an account before I can spin a thing up?
I was just wondering about that. I don't think so. I think you can create a project, it just won't save without an account.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to test it. So I saved my sample of React just in a separate file for the hell of it for now. Let's try it. I'd like to try it. There is no destroy method right now, though. Let's.
Are you going to support Angular?
We could. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it. But I don't care to right now, so.
And what about Ember?
I don't even know how Ember works these days.
No one does.
So on destroy, so since I am doing my events with on click like this, I don't need to do any destroy actions, but we're going to create a fake destroy anyway. Okay, let me save this. No. Oops. We did a few things. We did toggle, swatches, select swatch, and on change event. Boosh. All right. So my latest should be up here. I should be able to point to my index.js. This is our file. And code.
Look at that array of CSS colors, man.
I know. It's a lot.
Yep, code sandbox.io.
It's not a lot of file size, but it's a lot. I mean, to include in. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Okay, I'm back. I muted it. Can you hear me?
No.
I think you're lying. Create a sandbox.
It's free.
And then how do I template, right? I want to React.
Yeah, you can do a Vue or React template, and the default one should just use Create React App.
Okay. Look at that. Amazing. Okay, so I want my public, my index, and I want to include this script by default.
I really like Code Sandbox. We used it in some interviews recently, and that's like a true test of how useful it is, in my opinion, because every one of the people we interviewed, we just sent them a Code Sandbox URL, and they picked their framework of choice. So if they said they use Vue or React or Angular, we let them pick, and we just picked the boilerplate and sent them the URL. And it gives you like live recordings if you want, pair programming. It's a pretty powerful IDE for a browser.
How the hell does it know that this is like my code?
Say that again? But I'm lost.
Script src. So it stopped rendering. Why did it stop rendering our app? Is it just because? Oh, that's weird. Oh, so it doesn't. Oh, it's got a custom name now. I get it.
Your browser is really small, by the way.
No, it's not. I blew it up. Brooke says GitHub is hopefully going to have a VS Code cloud environment soon. Yeah, I did read a little bit about that. And people were talking about, well, can I code on an iPad now? Because it could just all be in there, which would be pretty cool for like on the go. But I don't know if I can give up a full computer yet. I hate using iPads, but that would, I mean, they're slowly trying to take over all these features that every site has. So someday we'll get there. Okay, so if that worked correctly, I should have access to CSS3 color picker.
Joshua Ferris says, howdy, hi.
You trying to beat me at comments? Is that what it is?
Howdy, Josh Ferris.
Hey, Josh. Welcome back. So it should. CSS3 color picker. So it didn't.
You want to give us a quick update on like what specific problem you're trying to solve right now? What are you trying to accomplish here?
So we've written some updates to our color picker where you can now like toggle stuff and whatnot. And I'm trying to do our first little demo into see if we can tie it into a React component. I wrote this little snippet that I think should work. Basically just a React component. We have a ref to store on the element. And then in our use effect, we would do our normal like DOM instantiation. And we'll pass it the element. And we added this on change. When you select the color swatch, it will change the color swatch and it should console log it out. And then did a little cleanup, even though we're not doing anything in there right now. But I'm trying to get this component working in Code Sandbox IO. First thing was importing my file. I don't know, can you just import a file like this?
I don't see why not. There's a console on the bottom right that should show your console log if it's working.
Well, if it should be available on CSS3 color picker if it was working. But it's not. Oh, would that be?
Is this, yeah.
Does that have to do with CSS, or not, ES6 stuff in Code Sandbox? Because
No,
it just runs it in my browser, right?
remember last session we looked at all of the ES6 syntax you're using is supported. So
Let's see, is it even importing the file? Index. Oh, content type text plain. Is that normal?
no, it should be a script.
That's what I thought. How do I get it to load it as like JavaScript?
I think you need a CDN of some kind. Do they have, I haven't looked into this, but do they have CDNs out there that you can just quickly publish to the way you would with like now.sh?
Well, if I'm going to do that, okay, we'll just copy paste it. I mean,
yeah, I think creating a vanilla JS file in Code
I
Sandbox.
like this worked before though, but maybe not. I'll just do it in here. I'll make it an actual public file.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the easiest way to avoid a rabbit hole.
And then instead of doing that, I'll just do that. And
Brooks says there's a special URL to grab GitHub files from.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I thought, isn't it like on gists? Like there's a
Well, usually
button?
I thought it would be the raw, but it's probably spitting this out as plain text. It doesn't recognize it as a JavaScript file for some reason. So yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows, let me know. But because we're not using like Ajax to pull it in or anything. Whatever, this is fine for now. And it kind of gives us the ability if we can update our code if we need to. So okay, let me pull out my sample React. And let's try getting that in the page app. So this could be make it a real component. How about that? Is that a new file? Colorpicker.js. For default function.
When we publish this to NPM, can we call it Taste the Rainbow?
The name of the package? No, that makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a rainbow of colors. It's a color picker. Skittles.
You can't use Skittles brand, man. It's copyrighted. You're always trying to steal stuff from other people.
Everything is stolen.
It's true. So we're using useRef and useEffect from React. Is that it? This, just to get the linter happy, let's say global CSS3 color. Okay, let me save that. I'm not sure if that code's all right. I haven't used useRef and whatnot yet, but see it auto import that for me.
Boom.
Oh. Shh. Oh, shit. See?
It worked. It worked.
It worked.
All right, just to close the loop on this last thing. Yeah, so Josh
GitHub.
Ferris.
No, that's what I'm using. Raw.github user content, but the git hack might work.
Yeah, I just want to see it work so that we don't throw in the towel on using GitHub.
That looks like it. It's got formatting. I think it's still working there.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah, it worked.
Application JavaScript. Git hack. So someone made their own website for it, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. So it was super easy to get in there. So that's all our, I mean, that's our React component right there. It's done. And then if you needed to update state and stuff, you know, you could do that here. You could do that in the onChange basically. So you can do like color swatch. Let's do, is it the value then the setter? I haven't really used hooks yet. That would come from, I guess if you passed one in. No, because that would override the same name. I'll just call it color. How about that? Instead of saying or, you can just set a default up here.
So when are we going to address the design?
Way later. All right? You chill, buddy.
Elephant in the room. Your design sucks. But the functionality is there.
So we could do, like you set the default color in there. I mean, what do you think we should call it? Default color or selected color or? Deep thought, Josh, deep thoughts.
IR designer.
Let's start with that. kind of follows the some point we need to standardize, like, are we going to use color names, color hex, color what? Like, I guess as long as it's, we could say any kind of acceptable CSS color value. So it could be named, could be hex.
Your microphone is kind of spotty on my end. I don't know if other people are noticing that too.
Guys, what do you think? Can you hear me normal? Is it me or is it Trent? This is all of the CSS3 colors, Brooks. So eventually I'm going to make it where you can pass your own color set in. I just wanted to start with these for now. And there are plenty of color choices there, yeah. But they will be configurable. Josh, that sounds good. Could be you, man. It could. Are you wearing headphones?
The same headphones I wear every stream.
Well, good for you. All right, so default color, if we pass that in, I'm just going to shrink that down for now. We don't need it. The state, we want to start with that default color. So selected color, we'll set it in. I still have this console login here. I didn't realize that. Set initial state was selected color. Yeah. Or just use the default value, whatever it was. I'm going to drop this out because we don't need that anymore. So that should start with the correct color. What color do you want to default with? Fire brick?
Poo-poo brown.
I need to update my
Purple rain.
Purple rain, purple rain. I'm going to go back to my index.js because we need to we're going to kind of work on this in real time. Oh, they added semicolons for me. Did you see that?
Yeah, linter, baby.
So use state. And then we also want to take the color, just color. And we're going to start it as fire brick. Actually, no. Let's just start it with that, and then we'll set it here. Color equals fire brick. And I also want to update all the code I've written in here. Okay, is there a way to save all? Save all. Default color is not defined. That's in my CSS3 code, I mean in this picker, I believe. So default color, I definitely didn't try to export it from here. I want to pull it from the options. There it is. Defaulted to Fire Brick. And then I change it, and it still changes it.
Nice. So about this design.
Papaya Whip, is that your go-to color, Brooks? That's a good one. It's in there. So it's a P. It's probably down here somewhere. Which one do you think is Papaya Whip? It's Old Lace. Oh, Sandy Brown.
Can you try Purple Rain?
Peach Puff. You know it doesn't work. You already used that joke. There it is, Papaya Whip. It's beautiful. Nice and creamy. Whippy. So let's look back at our, I really don't like their editor. I mean, it's so small, you know, but let's look back at our thing here, and we'll kind of mimic what they had. So we had this. We have the default color now, just so if you wanted to initiate it with your own color, you can do that. So that's working. Eventually, we'd want to write tests for these things.
Time for unit testing.
Ugh, it's the worst.
Do you, so this is probably a stupid question, but do you unit test without a framework? Is that a thing?
No.
Don't you have to have a test runner, right? Like Jest?
Yeah, that's you don't have to. I mean, you could do it yourself, but that's a lot of work. I mean, you might as well have a test runner because I'm not trying to reduce code on that end. Josh, you might not have written tests yet, but once you start doing them and you get some good tests, they feel so good. But after writing them for a long time, I take more pride in writing code that I don't need tests for, that works, and then no one comes back with bugs. It just feels good. Brooks is a big Cypress fan. Cypress.io, is that what it is? You could do like full integration tests, do some really cool stuff with it, really powerful stuff. It's like controls the whole browser and page and everything. So it is nice. I've used it before. Not sure how I want to go with testing this stuff yet. If I want to do like a full Cypress thing or try to keep it minimal or what. But I would also need testing for like the React component and Vue component. Cypress 5.0. So what should we work on next? I mean, we've got it working in there in React.
Design.
Oh, I guess I should check to make sure. It should be updating this. Well, I know it's setting the state for me because it's running the console log. So I don't want to work on design yet. That's like, I'm very particular about the design. And I don't know what I want to do with it. I mean, functionality-wise, it's not total. I guess it is. Design is the next step because we need to put this in the little swatches into an overlay, right? Yeah. Unless I put this up, push this up, and do you want to try to get into a Vue component first? I say we do that.
Not tonight.
You know, sometimes I doubt your commitment to Spark Emotion. Color, what?
So I was doing a little bit of reading up on how the internets do state management in vanilla JavaScript. Like, what are some recommendations? And on Reddit, there's a really popular question: how do you manage state with vanilla JavaScript? And the most popular upvoted answer is variables.
That's pretty good.
Some guy.
That's it? They actually accepted that answer?
Yeah, someone said variables, and it's been upvoted the most. Another person gave a more useful answer. They said use let to declare a value that you can just change inside of loops. And then someone else linked to a CSS tricks article on building a vanilla JavaScript micro state manager. So it's basically a pub sub, and it's like 3 files: a store, a pub, and a sub. And it's a vanilla JavaScript state management.
Yeah, but that's still a package. I mean, but definitely. It definitely works. It's using variables, I bet.
Yeah, there's really, it seems like, at least on the Google searching I did, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of standards for vanilla JavaScript state management without a framework.
So to put off the design some more, let's try getting 2 of them on the page. They like that. I think the crowd, the chat, is really enjoying the 90s style. They're big fans of it, from what I can tell. So
Space Jam.
Don't fix what ain't broke, you know? All right, so I think that one is xpot defaults. Was that all that I had in there? I don't want to copy theirs because they added nasty ass semicolons to it. So, and they changed it. Look, they moved it to 1 line. They took out my parentheses with. They totally disregarded my coding style, and they probably on Airbnb or something. 90s are back. Twitch ain't shit. Twitches ain't shit. Ah, I get it. It's a play on word for bitches ain't shit. That's clever. Your mom must be very proud of you. Nobody? Okay. So to get 2 of them on the page, let's go back. She is, yes. Back to my app, and then I'm going to do 2 of them on the page. Let's just do it. Second one, let's go papaya. Oh man, why do you got to pick the words? Whip, papaya whip. Actually, well, we'll do that. We'll do 3. And the next one, let's do text color. Should work as well. Oh,
rain.
So it rendered them fine, but wait a minute. No, okay, that's why. I was like, wait a minute, did it work? So it's working right now. It rendered all 3.
What would you have done if it had worked? You would have been more confused.
I know. I hate when things work out of the box first try, because I'm like, that's not right. That shouldn't be happening.
Wrong.
That should not be happening. But so what's really happening right now is whenever I click on one of these, our code is setting the instance on the global state, and it's setting whatever the last one is. So it's actually the last one. So if I click this one and I pick the color, it's only changing it for the last one. So we need to fix it so we can have multiple instances on the page. And in order to do that, I want to go back into my code here. I want to generate a unique ID for each color picker. There was a little code snippet I used recently because I actually ran into this issue where I tried to generate a unique ID, but it was not unique because, you know, date, time. Oh, we can have the option, Brooks, for a random color. Pull it from our list. I do want to incorporate the name somehow too, like let you search for them by name and whatnot. That was the whole idea of using the CSS3 color names, is that to get you familiar with the color names, and you can have a favorite and you can pick it. You don't have to remember the hex code, but we'll get there. What was I saying before that? Yeah, date time. So yeah, you could do some random numbers. There was one that I JavaScript generate. Yeah, there was this one that it did some weird way I've never done before. And it was a really short code, and I feel like it relied on, this is like a full crazy UID. It relied on the math random still and some kind of weird thing, but this is not what I'm looking for. In JS or React. Use an npm package. I mean, yeah, that's cool, but we're not going for any dependencies. I'm trying to stay real slim. In a modern browser? There was a really short one I saw. And all right, I'm gonna look it up on my other computer real quick. Trent, can you entertain the world for me?
Sure. So design.
You're such a hater.
Look, man, I'm just trying to figure out what features we're gonna add because we're running out of ideas. Maybe the chat can come up with some stuff. So we had the random color generation if the default is not set. That's an idea for a feature.
Yeah, you keeping track of all these in your to-dos?
Yeah.
All right, here's my little code snippet.
I'm writing them down. Feature ideas.
So I don't know where I pulled this from. I mean, I pulled it from a Stack Overflow somewhere, but
I think we need to test this color picker on a web page, like a web app UI, you know, a dashboard or wherever it would be used.
why? Isn't this code sample the same or what?
Well, right now it takes up a full page. And
yeah, well, that's design things. Why are you trying to push me to design again? Okay.
But the end use case for it is going to be in a modal, right? Or like that's functionality and design. If you're going to have all of these colors, you need to figure out how to condense them down because this component is going to be used in production on what kind of a page. It's
You're
not
right,
going to be.
We need to fix the design. That is on my list. We'll do it right after this. All we want to do is get the unique thing. Then we'll move into design. We'll make everybody happy. Okay, so that's what I use. It's a math.random.toString. Let me kind of play with this and see what it does, because it generates some. So it gives it some weird code like that. Let's kind of break it down for a second. Math.random will give you some random number between 0 and 1, right? And then the toString converts it to some kind of weird character code or something. .36, I don't know. The 36 might be the special kind of like encoding. So you see how I did like 0 dot, and then each of the numbers got their own kind of like encoding. And then it's just like dropping off those .0 and just pulling out the ID. Start with a Figma mock. Ah, so much work. I hate drawing things out first. I like to kind of code it and mess it up along the way. Mainly because a lot of times I've messed it up and then I've gone with that mess up. Like it helped inspired me in the design. So I know it's not as efficient, but that's usually how I do it, unless it's a bigger thing. And in this case, I probably won't draw something up in Figma. Can you guys still hear me? Are you there, Trent?
I'm here. I'm just letting you do your thing.
Are you being standoffish?
No, man. You have an agenda here. I don't want to take the wheel.
All right, so that'll generate a random ID for it, and then I can use this down in our render instead of just CSS3 picker instance. So I could put it on the CSS3 color picker, and that's already on the global. But I don't know. What should I name it? I would probably name, I mean, I'll have to name it like this. I might want to make a helper method for it. Let's just start with, well, CSS3 color picker instance underscore UID. I'm going to make a helper method for this. Get UID. Should that be and that's going to make it a little bit easier down here when I write like these methods, because now I can just do dot UID dot whatever. And I think that should be it. I'm just going to change this to makes instance available for on click. And this needs to be updated in the code sandbox. Save that. Refresh. Okay. Yeah, look at it. So see how they're kind of, the actual pop-up is showing between the things now? That's how we know. Well, there we go.
Yeah, that's weird.
CSS3 picker instance is not defined. That is because I didn't update my color swatch clicks. First try. Sort of. I'm going to want to copy this and put it there. But that should work then. We update this. Save that. Fresh.
Looking good.
Thanks, Trent. Color swatches all on their own. It's beautiful. This is great. This is like the best day of my life. All right. I think we might be ready to work on design. So you can see how it kind of renders out. You'll see the CSS3 color picker instance underscore, and then it's got the unique ID dot set color swatch to whatever it was. And if we do it on this other instance, they each have their own state. You can see it's got a different name there. So cool. Let me push this up. Because we're in a decent working state now. Did I leave any console logs in, or was that just in the React example? I don't think. Oops. I think that was just in the. Sample React. Okay. And I should ideally, I mean, eventually I'll make a code sandbox for it, where you can see a full working example. But for now, we're just kind of using that as our demo. Okay. Oh, let me push that up. Now we can actually use that on our githack.com. Okay, so let's look at some design, guys. Here's the
All right, I gotta go to bed now. I'm gonna talk to you guys later.
No, you don't. You're hanging out for at least another half an hour.
Is it finally time for design?
Finally. So the reason I've been putting off the design is not because I mean, the design part is kind of fun. My thing is I still don't know how I want to like theme it. Right now, I'm just writing these styles in here directly, and it's a big pain in the ass. Ideally, I'd like to find an alternative way to style it. Like, I'm thinking about maybe writing out I don't know, like a template thing to swap these out for me. Just so I don't have to style them all inline like this. Josh loves Taste the Rainbow. He thinks it's a great name. Trent, are you still there? Are you listening?
Yeah, man.
I'm asking open-ended questions for your response, and you're not responding.
I thought you were talking to the chat.
I mean, I'm talking out loud to everyone, and you're included.
Okay.
So if you were going to consume this component,
yeah, I would never do that.
And you had to fill the styles out, like you wanted to style it a certain way. Do you just want to configure it, or do you want to like override it with CSS, or?
Well, my bias opinion is that it needs a flavor of style, even if it's minimalist.
Yeah, default flavor style. But I also want to know, how do I override that easily? How would the user kind of override that by default too?
Properties that you pass in to the object. So when you instantiate a new CSS color picker object, the way that like Charts.js does it, or High Charts or whatever, this object here that's passed in is just massive, and you can have an endless list of properties like border radius of
Yeah.
the modal. Like if you want to have a default theme of like 3 pixel border radius, but they want to change it, you can add a border radius property.
Do you think I should just pass in a theme and allow you to use different themes, and you include the CSS from the theme that you want? Because then we could do like a material style, bootstrap style, match the different styles as well.
You could do that and just have one property passed in as like theme with different themes documented. But inevitably, people are going to want to create their own theme. So it's your call. I like the idea of themes starting out. I think it's a good safe start.
I do too. I don't like the idea of like chart.js where you pass in all those values. I really hate doing that because that's the only way you can override it. I mean, if you want to customize it further, it's kind of a big pain. The idea with themes is that I can give things class names, and with those class names, you can create your own theme, like fairly easy to fix it how you want, If you want to make it only show 4 swatches at once, or if you want to do, a whole different style, like you can theme the hell out of it to whatever you want and just not worry about functionality. I'd like to keep the configuration stuff mostly functionality wise, even though we already have like swatch size and stuff in here. We'll probably, some of those we'll keep there, but yeah. But yeah, I like the idea of starting with themes too.
Okay, then let's start with themes.
Hey, let's start with a theme. They can always add an important. Yeah. Yep. They could. And the benefit of using styles or CSS styles, class names, I mean, they could style it, have a theme once, and then it would apply to all of them. I guess if they wanted to style them differently, they could too. They would need to use some kind of unique ID, but they can do that on their own too. They can do it their own way, how they want to do it. Okay, so I already have this sample CSS, but it's not really doing anything. Let me rename it to, it's not just like theme, but yeah, whatever. Let's start with theme. And in my index.html, I'll change that to theme. So I'm gonna have to change some stuff in here about how I do the naming. The naming. So I need like a base CSS class name, so class names don't collide. Something simple like swatch, or color picker. I'll call it. I guess I'll call it CSS3 color picker. I mean, why not?
Call it Rainbow Taster.
Rainbow Taster. CSS3 color picker. Oh, I don't. I want dashes, huh? I'll call this base class name. So Josh says, parameter of apply styling that defaults to true. If you pass false, don't add any styles, just generic class names on the elements. That way they have full control styling. Yeah, so I see if I use this, like, this is pretty custom. I hate those like wacky CSS names just to, I mean, this is somewhat custom. I highly doubt someone's going to have a CSS3 color picker class name in their app already. So, I mean, I guess I could make this configurable, actually. That would be the best idea. But then it would break other themes if they're not loading them. So let's start with not making it customizable. And I'll use that as the base name. And then I'm going to do things like BEM style. I don't care if they like it or not. It's going to be something like CSS3 color picker and then underscore underscore color swatch, something like that. Those will be my CSS classes. I'm a big fan of BEM class naming, where it's usually block element modifier, but I kind of just use it as a 2-level thing. So I have like my base, this is the block or the main component, and then the underscore underscore, this is an element, like a sub element of it, and I don't usually nest more than 1 level deep, just because it gives you the flexibility of changing the HTML structure without having to rewrite a lot of CSS or break the CSS. So we'll start with that. Base class name. And I'm going to make another helper. This one doesn't necessarily need to be on the thing. It could be create class name. And that's going to return, oops. Base class name underscore underscore class name. It's going to be my little helper. So then something like this would be the color swatch. So that would create CSS3-color-picker underscore underscore color swatch. And let me copy that. And also do it for these different elements. I guess I don't have class names on the other things yet. Oh, Brooks got throwbacks of Salesforce days with double underscores. I luckily never had to deal with it. Josh, where did I put that?
Yeah, I don't like BEM.
Base class name. Good eyes, Josh. Good eyes. You don't like what? BEM?
What?
You shut your mouth. You're on my stream. You code my way.
Who invited this guy?
So this would be the color swatch wrapper for now, I guess. Yes, I mean, like, and this would be not just button, but let's select button. Let's call it button. Select button. Is that confusing? Like 2 different elements. And the main one, let's do, that will just be the base class name. That will be the root element. Let's see them pop up. I don't need to look at the React version right now, so let's go back to our local version. CSS3 color picker underscore select button. Look at that on click. People are gonna hate that. Color picker, color swatch wrapper. I also want to do one for that little color swatch too. So I guess I can break these out to make it a little more readable. Doesn't need to be the same line per se. Make it look a little more JSX-ish. Class. Selected color swatch. Okay, okay. You like that? Are you impressed?
Beautiful.
Are you impressed?
Yes.
So we've got class names. So I could switch some of the styling over now if I needed to. What did I name them all? Let's just let's fill out our theme. CSS3 color picker. And it allows us to just use one level of CSS selector. So if you want to override things, it makes it real easy. Select color swatch. Select button. What else was there? There's the base one, the select button, select color swatch. So like if I wanted to move this out of the button and use it somewhere else, it wouldn't break the style at all, which is nice. Or if I was using it in two different places, one where it's nested and one where it's not.
I really like how you consider the end user.
Yeah, I do too. I'm a thoughtful person. Color swatch wrapper. Oops. Guys, we're so close to styling. And then color swatch. Last one, right? Maybe, yeah. And these should theoretically be buttons for accessibility purposes, for reasons. And I should probably have a thing in here that says the color name. Eventually we'll need to make it so we're going off the name or the swatch, whatever, you know, so you can kind of pick. But this should be screen readers only.
Have you ever tried browsing the web on a screen reader?
It's horrible.
It's pretty bad.
I'll call it the color swatch name. So this actually does give someone the option to, I mean, if they wanted to include it in there, you know, they could do that. Oops, that's weird. So right now I'm not hiding it. See what it looks like. Yeah, it's got all the names in there.
Yeah.
And since it's a button, it gives you the option to tab between them. I don't know if you can see how well you can see it right now, but it's moving between the different things. And then I can hit enter on it. That was full keyboard access right there. Enter, tab, tab, tab. I just need to fix the focus when you first come up, but then you hit enter. Boom, accessible out of the box.
Can you put those names in tooltips?
Yeah, I could. See, so I could make it with the theme. I could say with the color swatch. Say we wanted to. I don't need to make an empty theme file. Well, I'm just going to do it for now. So I'll say like display none by default. What did I do wrong, Trent? Oh, it's because there's styles on it, maybe. Oh. Color swatch name. Did I include the theme.js? Or theme.css, yeah.
Is your spelling, syntax, everything lined up?
I wrote it class name.
Ah, there's that React.
Too much React, man. Okay, so there it's hidden by default. And then let's say, I don't need the important anymore. I want to add a style when this is, I mean, I could say hover. When you hover, set this to display block. And I could also set it so if it's like focused. I mean, it makes my names long and terrible like this, but if you're using Sass, you can abstract that away. That's usually not a problem. It's just really annoying kind of raw CSS. Who writes raw CSS these days, right?
I do.
I don't import them? What do you mean, Josh? And instead of hover, let's say focus, as if the button was focused. Refresh. And when you focus it, you can also show it too. And then I could style it like a tooltip, yeah. But right now, Blanche. What was that? Blanched almond? Ah, so. Okay, so we're ready for theming. How do you want to theme it? Finally, how do you want to theme it?
Material design.
I mean, we could do a mock material theme.
Should be a pretty easy theme to copy. I mean, I'm not that attracted to material design, but everyone uses it in their plugins now.
I really don't like material design. I'm going to rename this one too. Let's prefix them with theme something. So theme blank, just so they're all together. And I'll start from the theme blank. I use the theme material. And instead of loading the default theme, let's do theme dash material. I'll have to find a way to pick it out later on, but pick the style. I guess you would just include the style sheet that you want. And oh, I see what you mean. Maybe the @ import like that. Okay. So if I just did theme and then I did like an @ import in the file here, I could do that. If I'm in a full app, I usually do that instead. But I just didn't do it here. That's a good point, though. Yeah, let's do that. At import. Oh, no, I don't want to do it in there yet. So I want to have the separate files. Well, no, because then I can switch them easily. Okay.
So indecisive.
Since no one else wants to talk to me, theme material.css. Is there supposed to be a semicolon at the end of that? I think so. So instead of importing theme, I'm going to rename this back to sample. Rename sample.css. And then I'm just going to import it like that. And we could have, I mean, the multiple ones. For the example of like if you wanted to switch between them. Maybe we had another one that's theme bootstrap.
Yeah.
And then we could just, when we're testing, we can easily switch between them like that. But for now, let's just look at material. And let me update this back to sample.css. And that should import the theme material, which has no styling. What does the material button look like?
It's a very complicated question.
A popular material UI is React key mark. I just call it material. I was going to say a popular React.
No, material design. But the material UI one is just as good. It's going to give you what you need.
Yeah, I just want to see the styling of them, I guess. It really, yeah.
Yeah, this gets into like the philosophy and everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. A popular React UI framework. And I want to look at the button. Components. Button. There they are. Take me back to daylight mode. Okay.
Ooh, you should have a light mode and a dark mode of your color picker. Like the background of the colors can be toggled.
Yes, that would be nice. Let's add it to the list of features. So the thing about material, like, I would want to actually add the class names and stuff, right? So that you can get these click effects and such. So in that case, I would want you to pass what theme you're using in through the plugin when you create it. Because then I can add those additional material class names for you. And if you already have material UI on the page or material styles, I could just use the class names and let you inherit their styling, right? Or are these custom styled? Shit, that's why. They're custom styled with MUI.
Yeah.
Touch ripple, whatever. Let's just do the visual
Touch
styling of it
ripple.
for touch ripple for now. So it's just kind of like, what font is it?
They use their own font. It's weird.
Roboto?
Oh, nice. Yeah, I guess this one is different.
Is that what it actually is, though? Yeah, Roboto.
Yeah.
14px. Yeah, they might need some whatever. We'll just do this for now. Just gonna go with that. Whatever styles that they had that I can just rip off over here. Font weight 500, font size. I mean, I guess I could just take all of these, right? Because I'm copying the style.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need all of them, but
A lot of them are from the button. And I'll fix
yeah.
that. And I'll rip out. Box sizing, transitions, font family. Jeez, I hate those pop-ups. Well, let's see. Does it look any more material? Oh, kind of. There should be no border. Again, we're not viewing it. This is 100% right here, so. Button base. Wow, see, they got layers on layers of styles here.
Yeah, it's bad. I usually just like visually replicate it to some extent and not the whole thing.
I'm going to be pretty ghetto for now and just do this. I'm going to say these are my base ones and these are the overridden ones. Why is there no colors? Contained? Oh, I am not even on the right class. I want to be on the button. Where is the background color being set? This one, right? Yeah. Contained. What do you think that means?
I honestly don't know.
Oh. There we go. We're getting closer to our CSS3. I mean, our default material button style. Okay, and we need the hover styles. So let's add a hover. Button contained hover. First of all, add a hover here. But I also want to do that when it's focused. Focus. There was another one from the root. Text decoration none. I'm just going to say ripped from Material UI. Okay.
Straight out of the box.
Okay. And then how should I style that little color swatch there?
Um,
I think it needs to be bigger. That one was still being hard-coded in here.
wait, go back to your browser.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Yes.
I would make it fill up the entire right 2 corners of the button.
Yeah, like a full color swatch kind of thing, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I could get down with that. In that case, I might want to position absolute it.
Yes. I was just thinking the same thing.
And see, we can use our CSS styling to do that. Our theme material. It's already got a position relative. So then for the select color swatch, we'll do position top 0, right 0. It's got a width and height set on it, but I want to do full height. Actually, you can set the bottom and it'll like expand.
Yeah.
And then left. I guess
5 pixels. So yeah, that's good. And then if you set a width on it, then if the button has a position relative, then it may mess with things.
Is there
You gave it position absolute and it's...
Yeah, right? Is this right? Select color swatch?
I'm not seeing the position absolute.
Selected color swatch. I had that wrong all this time. So I'm going to fix that in here too. Here we go.
There you go. Make its height and yeah, its height like 100%.
I think if I do auto, because I'm trying to use that bottom to say just, yeah, I guess we'll just go with 100%. I'll drop the bottom. I'm gonna have to important that shit. Okay. And then we'll make a width mean, and I need to add padding to the right of it. Let's see. There we go. How do I indicate that there is no color right now, though? Actually, I could do, no.
I don't think you need a border.
No? But then what if it's empty? I guess if there is no color selected.
Yeah, you don't need anything.
Where is the border coming from? Did I add that?
Where is the border coming from? Did I add that? That should go in quotes.
I mean, I think I did, but I thought I added it. Oh, it's hard-coded in there. Yeah, yeah. See, this is why we don't want hard-coded styles. So there is a CSS style
Mm-hmm.
where you can style it if it's empty. And right now it is currently empty. But if I put like that color in there, the current color, or if oops, not class name.
Bad habits.
Oops. Selected color swatch name. There's another one. Selected color swatch name. What does it have by default? By default, that it's a transparent. I mean, I guess I should default it to just nothing, right?
Yeah.
Or none. But then I won't be able to use the empty property. But I wonder if I won't be able to use it because I have the span in there.
You can, yeah, just set it to transparent.
It is set as transparent.
You don't need the name in there, do you?
Bisque. I want it in there for not visible, but for accessibility purposes, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I guess. But I can hide it by default. Yes. Or is it just visibility? I'd have to look up. Want those rounded corners in there, huh?
Yeah. Do you know how to do just 2 rounded corners?
Yeah. I do.
It's a fun little CSS trick.
It works the same as the rest of them. I mean, the paddings and stuff. So you have one, it's all 4. Top right, we want it to be 4 pixels. Bottom right, and then those 2. That was a bad color to pick. There it is. Oh, I did the wrong ones. It starts at the top left. Brooke says, isn't there a property that tells the browser not to render things?
Well, visibility hidden renders, but hides. I forget. So there's one where it like takes the element out of the normal DOM structure. And then there's one where the outline of like a div, like I think visibility hidden takes it out of the DOM structure, but display none. Or maybe it's the other way around.
Visibility hidden takes up the space that it would normally take, and it's just invisible.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, display none would like pull it out, but then anything displayed none would also not be read by a screen reader. So the screen readers, I'd have to look at the Bootstrap style, what they have for screen readers only. There's a specific one. It could be visibility. Someone's fire alarm's gone off. It could be visibility hidden, and then like a width and height of 0, but I'd have to look at that. So I'm adding a new option for button text. Do you hear that?
Yeah, what's that?
It's someone's fire alarm. Oops.
I bet they burned the grill.
It could be my new neighbors. They don't know their capability. Yeah, SR only. So it was the style they had. I have to look at how they do it. But button text, I'm going to default to select color. And then our sample. Choose CSS3 color. What? There it is. Nice and whatever themed. I hate this theme. I'll be honest.
The material theme?
Yeah. I mean, this default style, it doesn't look like a control, like a UI control. It looks like a button with a, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's also an ugly gray background with, you know, basic text. There's not much to it to look good.
Yeah. I mean, this is fine enough for now. Gets the point across.
It's a good stopping point.
Oh, you burnt? Yeah, I think it's a good stopping point too. But we've got a theme. We've got a theme. And we're picking colors. I mean, the colors are all there. Should I make those color labels marquees so they scroll?
Purple rain.
We're getting there. We're making progress. One thing I do want to fix real quick. I want the wrapper to have a margin top of like 0.5 rem. So it's not right on it. Okay, that's good enough for now.
So
let me save this.
did you push this up?
No, I'm going to right now.
Hey, you should really commit your code.
Material sample.
Brooks has a good idea. Change the whole button background color to whatever is picked.
Yeah. And then we got to get into that color accessibility stuff, though, because we got to do the calculation to see should this text be white or should it be black. I think I'd also like an option to where it's not all in the button. It's like it's just the color swatch or something, you know? But I don't know. That's what we're going to play with it. We're going to play with a couple different examples of how we want to do it. I like the idea of, like you said, of having a basic for Bootstrap and Material or whatever, just to kind of try and match those so it can be plug and play for people who do want to just throw it into their project that's already using something like that. It could be a custom design that I make based on what I feel matches Material. I think that's fair enough. It doesn't need to be using all of the real Material stuff. I mean, you have the ability to custom theme it with the CSS class names as needed. So we'll keep on working on it in that sense.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too. Did I push that up? I did, right? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
don't need this anymore. Don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. So next time, I mean,
there won't be a next time.
We'll keep working on the design stuff. I'd also like to see how it works, how it integrates into a Vue.js sample as well. But yeah, a lot of it from here, well, there's a lot of design work. What I'd really like to do still is, I mean, eventually we'll need to pass in our color sets, allow you to pass in your own set of color swatches, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to, for my use of this, how I want to use this color picker in my app is I want to have different subcategories like blues, tans, reds, etc. And then you can kind of filter down like that, or you could search by name if you want to search by a name.
I like that idea.
That could be overkill for a lot of people, but that's how I want to use it. So I'd like to kind of incorporate that. Yeah, but we'll save those for another day.
Add them to the Trello board.
There is no Trello board for this project. I'm sorry to say.
Well, there should be.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. Brooks, you're still here. Josh, maybe if you're still there. Let me go back to our cute faces. There they are. Our faces, quote unquote. All right, any last words, Trent?
Nope. I think it was another good session.
Another successful day. All right. Well, I'll see you guys next time. Love you. Bye. Trent, say bye.
Bye.